Hello friends, welcome to YouTube channel Jojo's Azure Learning. In this video today we'll be discussing AD Connect and how to configure AD Connect step by step process. So in last video we have seen that we have deployed a Windows Server 2022, and then on top of that we have made that a domain controller, so like a local AD. So what is the use of AD Connect? So there is another video I'll be sharing with you guys. Local AD versus Azure AD. So the AD Connect is basically what it is used for is like AD Connect will be synchronize objects from the local AD to Azure AD. The local AD can be a hardware running on a VMware, or it can be an hypervisor, or it can be an actual physical hardware, or it can be an IaaS infrastructure as a solution, a virtual machine in the Azure as well. So you deploy local AD, you promote the domain controller, and once it's promoted ready to go, you can create an accounts, user accounts, groups, security groups, etc. You create that, and let's say you need to sync all these accounts to all these objects to the Azure AD. So it's not, Azure AD is not a replacement for a local AD. You can consider as a Azure AD is an extension of a local AD. So the AD Connect has to be installed on a server. It should be same server as a domain controller, or it can be it can be a different server as well. So we will go through this AD Connect, how to configure it, and we'll go by step, and we will see that. So in AD Connect, we can see that as you see that there is a different architecture diagram how we can configure. One of the best configuration scenario is as you see in this picture. See those triangle in the left side. These are the triangles in the left side. That is actually a AD forest. So basically, this can be a abc.com, and then this can be an xyz.com forest, and then another forest. So all these forests can be added, or domains it can be added. abc.com, xyz can be added in this AD Connect configuration, and all these can be synced through the Azure AD. So to remember that only one communication between the AD Connect server to Azure AD, there is only one, and the behind the AD Connect server we can actually have many multiple forests, but all the forest has to be gone through a single Azure AD tenant. If you think this way, like one AD forest go to one AD Connect sync server, and then it cannot go to multiple Azure AD tenant. That's not possible. So only places there where you wanted to have a two AD Connect server, that will be something called a staging mode. We will talk about that, why we need staging mode. The staging mode server is like one more AD Connect server, just like a backup, and then all the configuration, all the user accounts and the security groups and everything will be synced to that AD Connect as well. There is one more AD Connect server here, just assume, and that will be not be synced to an Azure AD tenant. It will be ready to sync. So let's say it fails, something happens, and then the first primary, the AD Connect server fails, then you just need to take out the staging mode from the secondary server and then sync it. So it happens already, everything is syncing from the local AD. You just have to sync it to Azure AD, so you should be good to go. Some of the scenarios we probably looking at this, most of the organization prefer to have this hybrid identity model. So basically server with local AD and AD Connect server, and also an Azure AD. The reason being is that there are some applications hosted on the Azure AD. So, and then there is some of the new protocol supported SAML authentication, okay, SAML authentication or OAuth, those kind of application supported application, just AzureAD authentication, then you just need to have only AzureAD. But some of the scenario that you just need to have the LocalAD because of the Kerberos and NTLM authentication, that's the LocalAD authentication requirement. If that's an on-prem application, then you just need to have the LocalAD as well. So this supported scenario has the same identity, can be synced to AzureAD. And then we will see that same thing. So basically, if you change the password in the LocalAD and then sync it through the AD Connect server, that password will be the same for AzureAD user as well. So the same password can be used. So the same password, same user account can be used for LocalAD authentication as well. The AzureAD authentication with single sign-on, seamless single sign-on. We'll go that into much more detail into this. Just think about right now. Just see that this supported architecture, how these hybrid identities will work, and then we'll go step by step and how to install it. And then this next video we will see a deep level architecture diagram and what are the troubleshooting steps and things like that. So by default, if you look at this AD Connect server, by default there is a sync going on. So first time it just when you deploy it, it will be like a initial sync happens. That means all the user accounts, all the groups and security groups, everything in the LocalAD will be synced. It might take a lot of time. If you have a lot of 5,000 or 10,000 users, it might take a lot of time. But if you think a very small environment, small LocalAD user account, then it will be very fast. But after that initial sync, you'll be doing a delta sync. So basically any changes in the user attributes or you're adding a new user account, that will be picked up in the delta sync here. By default, the delta sync is 30 minutes. That can be adjusted as well, but by default is preferable by Microsoft is 30 minutes. So every 30 minutes, all the user accounts created, password, everything will be it will be synced to the AzureAD. So you just need to manage the identity just one place, only in the LocalAD. So in the LocalAD, you can actually change the password, you can change it, you can do an OU based policy can be applied to OU, and we can also do what needs to be synced. You don't need to sync everything. We can select what needs to be synced. So let's say some of the accounts we don't need to sync. Then you can check mark that you just sync only the OU that needs to be synced. That we will see it in coming slides or coming videos. So so there are some of the authentication method. How authentication take place? Whether authentication take place with AzureAD or it is in a LocalAD or in both places, or where exactly the authentication actually take place. It depends upon that. There are some technology has been used. One of them is the cloud only. Cloud only account is a small organization. They need to have nothing. There is no infrastructure in on-prem. There is no hardware. There is no data center. Nothing is available. It's just a new company, and you just need to have application. Everything is hosted on the AzureAD. I mean Azure. Nothing is on-prem. So that's the scenario, and also the computers. They all join to AzureAD join domain, AzureAD join computer, and there is no much GPO group policy objects or something is a requirement. That's the place where you just have to get cloud only account. So the cloud only account is a very simple method, and you just have very easy to manage. You just have to go to AzureAD and then create user accounts and things like that. So there are other methods for with AD Connect. Cloud only means there is no AD Connect required. It's just a cloud only account. So other things are the PHS and PTA. PHS is password hash synchronization. So there's a way the password actually sync. So if you know the Linux, you'll see that the password is stored in the /etc password file. There is an etc shadow file. So the etc shadow file has the hash of the password. So password cannot be stored directly in the plain text. So it will be like encrypted password, right? It will be stored in etc shadow. So when you go to the etc shadow, all the user accounts in the etc password will be stored in there. Likewise, here also, when you through the AD Connect, it should not be stored when you go to the AzureAD. It should not be stored as a plain text. So what it will do is like a password. It will take the hash already is there, and then hash of the hashed password. So that hash of the hash will be syncing to a ID Connect server and it will be stored in the AzureAD. It's secure way, one way. There is another one is a pass-through authentication. We will see, and there is another federated authentication, ADFS, and in third-party providers like Okta or anything like that. So we'll show this technology once it is deployed. We will see very details. What are these technologies and why we are using it? What is authentication method? And we will see there is a flow diagram. Will show you how one scenario what we will be using cloud only account, why we need AD Connect and things like that. So just go into further and then we will start installing the AD Connect and then we'll come back to next video. Okay. So I logged into the Azure portal. I can see that in the screen I logged in, and so ADVM01 is my domain controller, is a LocalAD. That's only one domain controller I have. It has got a public IP and it's in a East US region. So I'm just going to log into. There's two ways to get the download the AD Connect software. There's a version 1 and then version 2. The version 1 is absolute and no longer. I think it's August this year. It's been obsolete, and there is no support for the version 1. So anyone is still running version 1, it's kind of it is time to. It's not time. It's already time is up to upgrade to version 2. And a lot of security vulnerabilities are fixed in version 2 and a lot of additional features. So I will show you. I mean, there is a way to upgrade. It's an easy upgrade. There's an in-place upgrade. Also, we can do a swing upgrade. So basically, you'll have to have 2 AD Connect server, and then we'll talk about that later in a separate video. So right now we'll get it started. There is a 2 ways to download the AD Connect. We can just Google it and download, or you go to Azure portal, Active Directory, and then there is Azure AD Connect. You can click on the Azure AD Connect and then you can see. So these are the configurations, user sign-in, how it happens, like federations, seamless single sign-on, pass-through authentication, that's a PTA, and PHS. So we'll see. So we can download here. This is a link. I can download Azure AD Connect. If you click it, it will get downloaded. Okay. So let me log into the server itself, and then we will get it downloaded. So I'm just logging into the my domain controller. I'm planning to install. I'm planning to install on same domain controller server, ID Connect server also. But in the actual scenario, you'll have to install it in a different. It's preferred to install it in a different server. So I'm here. I can take this link and then, or also I can Google and download it. I'll go to the Internet Explorer. I think I may have to download the Chrome as well, but just copy paste that information, or you can just Google it as well. You go in here. I think it's getting blocked by enhanced security configuration. I think you just have to go. If you see that error message, go to server manager. Once you go to server manager, we can just turn that off for now. So you see it has IE enhanced security configuration. You can turn it off for the administrator. You can turn it off, and it's fine. There is no security issues. I come back, and then So you can see the installation instructions and everything is here. If you need details, you can see that. So download adconnect.msi, click here to download. You just have to click and download and then save it. I'm just going to save it. It's downloading, so you just have to check the download. It's still downloading. I think download is completed. So we'll just get the installation started. This is the latest version we downloaded in AD Connect. Let's say you wanted to have the different version installed. So you just have to look for the AD Connect archive versions. And then you can actually you can see the release history rate, and also you can see this. So these are the versions, and time to time Microsoft is releasing new versions, and then you can have an auto update. There is a check mark after installation. I'll show you how it automatically update, or you can actually update it ourselves after this one. So we can also do an export settings before do an upgrade, but right now we'll just start with there is a lot of bug fixes that fixed in the new one, so we'll install the new one. Just go back, and it's easy installation. Just double click and install it. Just continue. Installation is getting started. So you can see the welcome to AzureAD Connect. So this is where it doesn't need to be in a domain controller. This is a domain controller. So basically it integrates the on-premises and the online directories. So just agree to these license terms and continue. Okay, this is the enable auto upgrade options. So there is an option to use an express settings, or you can do a customize. If we do a customize, these are the things we can actually customize. We can do by default it is a C drive. We can install it in a different place, custom installation location. These C program files, you can want to change it to a different drive. That's one option. Use an existing SQL server. Let's say you wanted to use a different SQL server, not the one. By default, it will install a SQL itself automatically. So if you wanted to specify a new database created with a new SQL server, then you can point to this one. And service account, let's say if you want to manage with a different service account, then you can do that as well. Specify the custom sync groups. Imports, or I suppose let's say if you are exported a synchronization settings from old AD Connect server, then you can import it. So settings location. So the old version is export settings are not allowed, but in the new versions like version 1, some version the latest, and then version 2 onwards, there is an export settings option is there. When I was installing it first time, there was no express settings, so I had to manually check the settings and then configure it. We will talk about that in later. So just leave it for now. Just try to install it in to the express settings. So this one is straightforward. And then first thing is that it will connect to an AzureAD. We need to have a global administrator account, AzureAD global administrator account role, and then you need to log in and then password. Okay, so let's say what account we have. Then Azure Active Directory. I have these users. So I have this account, or I can create a new account as well. I can create a new user account. So I also have the goodheartservices.com. probably you can this is a verified domain. If you are not seeing how to verify the domain, you can see it in my other video. So I'm going to create an it's called a GA, just for GA, at goodheartservices.com, and GA, and then I can just put admin. Then let me create a password. I'll create a password. So I'm just creating a new user. Create this user, and so just refresh, and then I can see that user is created, GA at goodheartservices.com. So this needs to be, what it is saying is that this needs to be a role, assigned role. If you see it, add an assignment. We just need to assign a global administrator role. So this one has the global administrator role. So it has been assigned, and a global administrator built-in role has been assigned. So let's use that role. Go back to this one. So GA at good heart. And then the password. So I'm connecting to the AzureAD with my global credential, global administrator credentials. It's goodheartservices.com, I think. So let's log in with that. Once you log in and authenticated, and I think, oh, this is the first time, the password, we need to log in and then change the password. So this will be I'm just changing the password. So password change, and then signing in. So once it's authenticated, so I just you can have to use the MFA, and next. Unsupported browser. Okay, so let's see if we can log in again with this change password. Okay, so password is changed. So now what I need is so first credential what we need is the global administrator credential to authenticate to AzureAD, and second credential we need is the Active Directory domain service enterprise administrator. LocalAD we need an enterprise administrator credential. So let's open up the ADUC Active Directory users and computers, and then users. We have this admin user account, or you can just use this admin user account to member of. It's already domain users. I think I'll make it as enterprise admin as well. So I added to the enterprise admin as well. I think it'll make this one as a domain admin as well. Just I think enterprise admin is also domain admin as well, just in case. But yeah, I think that's fine. It's enough. So let's use the admin. So it will be like AD, because that will be a short name, and then the admin and the password. So these things has to be ready before we start configuring it. Yeah, users will not be able to sign in with UPN suffix. I will see how to do that, UPN suffix, how to add it, because right now no users can use this goodheartservices.com because there is no UPN suffix. The meaning what I'm trying to say is that if you go in here and then try to create a user account, see this, I can only create ad.hoodguardservices.com. If you want to create an user account with goodheartservices.com, I cannot create it. So I'll explain that how to add, and then there is another video coming up. Please stay tuned. And then I will add it in the UPN suffix, and then we can sync it. So that's fine for now. Let's continue. So this is the last step. I can see it will be installing the engine and then AD Connect, and then enable the password hash synchronization. That this cannot be so PHS, and then this will start the synchronization process. Now just install. It's installing the SQL Server. See that it is SQL Express local DB, and installing while we are installing this one in the backend. So earlier when you were version 1, it was SQL 2012, and that was a lot of security vulnerabilities, and we had to upgrade it. So now it is configuring all the synchronization process. This will be really quick because we don't have much users and groups and etc. So it will not take much time. I'll pause it. It's still configuring it. It's also creating an Azure Active Directory synchronization account. So it should not take much time, maybe like 10 minutes. I'll pause it and we'll come back. So now you can see that it's configuring AD Connect Health agent for sync. So we can check the status, AD Connect Health status. The same installation process is continuing. So sometimes they might ask you the interview or in the when you're writing the AZ300 and AZ301 exam, or even the administrator exam AZ104. So they might ask you what are the main requirement, right? So requirement for the credentials, like we need to have an AzureAD global administrator credentials and also the enterprise admin credentials from the LocalAD enterprise admin and the AzureAD global admin. So just remember that. Yeah, the configuration is complete. AzureAD Connect configuration succeeded. The synchronization process has been initiated. So this initial sync has been started. The configuration is completed. They are giving some guidelines. By default, it's seeing that MSDS consistency good as the source anchor contribute. We'll explain in another video how these attributes, what exactly this AD Connect thing is doing is like. So it actually, there is a two ways it will try to match the accounts in LocalAD to AzureAD. So the first thing is called soft match. So soft match is basically it will check the UPN suffix or the email address. The UPN suffix, it will try to see it's actually matched with the UPN suffix in AzureAD. Okay, so that's like a soft match. Sometimes there are issues we have seen that this soft match doesn't work. So the second option is to have the hard match. The hard match is the MSDS consistency code. This MSDS consistency code is like a hexadecimal number that we can actually get it. And once you get that from the LocalAD attribute, user attribute, we can convert that to hexadecimal to the something called immutable ID. So that immutable ID we can update into the AzureAD to match it. That's called a hard match. But normal scenario, we don't need a hard match. I will explain in a later scenario. So this will complete the initial configuration of the AD Connect AzureAD Connect installation. Once you exit and we can see what is the synchronization process going on. Whether there is a shortcut synchronization services that will be started, we can click on that and see what is the service is not that is still working. The services is still starting. we can start with an administrator. So this is this is all success. So basically what it does is like it will take the full import from the LocalAD, and then it will do the synchronization and then export it. So basically that this import, export, synchronization, these three steps, we can see what is synced. Also there is nothing, there is no thing. Let's see here, there is an update add. You can see into details what is updated. We'll have another video to deep dive into go to how to troubleshoot in case of any issues. This is the way to set up. This AD Connect server will be used to sync from the LocalAD to AzureAD. This concludes this video. Thanks for watching. Please like and subscribe.